The emerging era of the Indian Freedom Revolution began with Kala Pani, means the death penalty for freedom fighters, known as water of death, due to the geographical location of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. It wasn't just a horrific death sentence. It was an act of inhuman activities and cruelty against humanity. The catastrophic time of that historically tainted century was so terrible that no one could escape the torment of hell. The Cellular Jail is recognized as a national memorial. The jail was opened in 1906 during British rule in India. The structure, consisting of colonial jail, is three-storied constructions of Burmese bricks in the shade of poos. The panopticon-type architectural layout of the jail with the tower served as a single point of vigilance to keep an eye on the prisoners of the 7 gigantic wings and 663 cells of the prison. Today, we can find 3 wings out of 7. Area of rest of the wings is meant to accommodate a hospital. With time, the weathering took a toll on the structure, as geographically, the islands receive heavy rainfall and the corridors act as a barrier. Semicircular arcs and jack arcs support the entire stretch of the corridors. The opening, covered with grills for safety, passes the daylight throughout the corridors. On the contrary, the cells were dark, with one wall having a small ventilator for air exchange and the other open for passing food plates. The cell locking arrangement was done in a way that AL drop conceals inside the brick masonry, making it impossible for prisoners to escape. The weather affected the structure as time went on. The brick masonry was affected by the dampness, as it was subject to use of modern materials, causing bulging in some walls. The cells and the facade were brutally intervened by plaster and paint, which was originally meant to be exposed bricks. The vaulted slab of the ceiling suffered structural damage, flaked plaster, cracks and dampness. The algal growth was present internally, affecting the bricks beyond paint as well as the external facade, causing black crust. The insensitive use of cementitious materials caused cracks in the flooring of the cells. The ceiling of the corridor was structurally intervened such that the I section had RCC beams underneath, which was critically cracked. The chajjas were also rusted and affected the appearance of the facade and could no longer serve the purpose. Overall structural, fabric and service deficiencies were mapped that were holistically restored to regain the longevity of structures that had endured years in spite of severe natural conditions. The phase 1 began with restoring the admin block roof and windows at the converging point, which is the central tower, the Phansi Ghar, block number 1 and 6 partly, block number 7 completely. Integrated activities such as removal of bricks and cleaning and scraping paint from facade and cells to identify defects. Stainless steel pins, plates and helibars were used to reinforce cracks in walls, arcs and ceilings. The walls of each Smarak cell were exposed in their original position and were consolidated using ethyl silicate, and the bricks were retrofitted, which were damaged, deformed, eroded and dislocated and repointed with lime. In addition, the brick masonry was retrofitted with new bricks to replace the damaged brick piece. The MS grills of the cells were also retrofitted, and the AL drop of the locking system was rusted, causing the wall bulging, which was fixed. The terrace caused leakage and dampness in the cells and corridors and was waterproofed. The corridor jack arc I sections were retrofitted by adding a plate as wide as a flange in place of concrete beam, an inclusion which was later removed. Considering all aspects of visitor safety, the corridor grills were restored and painted with an anti-corrosive layer. The cornice was replastered and observed from the archival image. Finally, a layer of water repellent was applied, which would slow down the microbiological and fecus growth. The extensive task of restoration and repairs of the Cellular Jail was undertaken by Andaman P.W.D. under the guidance of A.S.I. and Stambh Consultants, and proudly Savani Heritage Conservation Pvt. Limited received the opportunity and responsibility for the restoration of the national monument. We have strived to restore more than 150 heritage monuments and are obliged to work on a historic monument of national importance known as Azadi ka Tirth Sthal. It is the presence of the visitors which brings value to the heritage structure, ultimately leading to the efforts to maintain and care for the structure. We at Savani Heritage Conservation believe that restoring Cellular Jail is equivalent to paying homage to freedom fighters that were once imprisoned and have strived to gain independence for India. With this memorial, future generations of independent India will always remember their forefathers as heroes of freedom, and the saga of their sacrifice will be immortal for ages.